Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 2Bob. My name is Craig. The time is 1 in the afternoon, and today is shaping up to be a really nice day here in Brisbane. The topic of this video is the theory of evolution 2.0. It's basically another stab at the theory of evolution that I presented in my original post, disproving the theory of evolution. Now, you're welcome to peruse that post. That's the basis for what I'm about to say now. I'm just going to add a few extra things in that in this video that I didn't mention in the first video. Okay, so I'll recap the evidence and then I'll make the additions where necessary. The theory of evolution basically predicts that all earthly life, past and present, originated from what's known as the prebiotic soup. Some others call it the primordial soup. Now, from there, we have two things. We have natural selection and random mutations, the ongoing concurrence of those two things over time. Now, why these two things occur, no one really knows, only God knows, but we'll just assume for the sake of argument that those two things are indeed occurring. Okay, we're told that the ongoing concurrence of natural selection and random mutations gave rise to the faculty of intelligence. That's the main gist of the theory. But I submit to you that's just fundamentally ridiculous. Just use half a brain cell here. Let's consider the term natural selection. Now, it doesn't matter what context you use the term in, to select anything at all requires intelligence. Now, there are many atheists out there that like to gaslight and tell me that I don't know what natural selection is. I reply to them, well, it doesn't matter, because to select anything at all requires intelligence. My position trumps yours. It's very, very simple. Selection cannot occur without the faculty of intelligence, period. That is just a fundamental fact. You cannot get around that, okay? So what was it that selected the very first random mutation? Because that's what we're told. We're told that progressive evolution, upwards evolution, is based on the selection of the good random mutations whilst factoring out the bad ones. We select only the good ones, so that gives rise to this progressive rise in evolution. That's what we're told over and over again by all those cheerleaders that believe in this theory of evolution. But selection requires intelligence. So any form of progressive evolution requires intelligence, the faculty of intelligence, to predate the entire evolutionary process. It's just common sense. Now, I mentioned all this in my original post, disproving the theory of evolution, that you're welcome to peruse at any time. Now, I want to add something else to this. Let's now talk about random mutations. Well, let's talk about random causation. We know fundamentally that the characteristics of any output of any cause must inherently be in proportion to the characteristics of the input into that cause. That's just a fundamental fact you can't get around, okay? Now, a random outcome is one that cannot be predicted, all right? But if the characteristics of the output is indeed proportional to the characteristics of the input, then it must be said that then that particular outcome is not random. It's strictly not random, because it can be predicted with respect to the input. It gives us output that can be predicted. So that's not a random outcome. A random outcome is an outcome that cannot be predicted. And the only way that's even possible is to break the connection between input and output. And that's only impossible via the faculty of intelligence. And only an intelligent entity can create an output that does not depend on input. Now, obviously, an intelligent entity is at liberty to create an output which depends on input. They use input to create output. That occurs over and over again. But an intelligent entity is at liberty to not use input. For example, you asked me to select a number between 1 and 9. 5. There you go. I just gave you my output. There's no input into that. I just gave you my output. It's really, really simple. So I think the term random mutations is, I think it's quite misleading, because any mutation which is considered actually random, well, it has to involve a conscious decision to create a mutation. But I think that's not what we're really talking about here. We're just talking about mutations that occur accidentally over time. But as I said before, you can create an output if how can I say it? An output must be based on its input. Okay, so I would say you have natural cause and effect. Obviously, nature consists of non-intelligence and intelligent causes. Okay, so an intelligent cause can intentionally create effect, or it can non-intentionally create effect, like accidents, for example. But a non-intelligent cause cannot create a non-intelligent effect, which is not in any way, which is disproportionate to the input. It can't do that. So zero input into a non-intelligent cause equals zero output. Simple as that. So let me summarize the evidence against this ridiculous theory of evolution. The theory of evolution tells us that the faculty of intelligence was created via the ongoing concurrence of natural selection and random mutations. Now, there are two reasons why we know that simply isn't possible. Let's talk about natural selection. To select anything at all requires the faculty of intelligence, to select, to choose. Now, you can gaslight me as much as you like. You can tell me over and over again, I don't know what I'm talking about as far as natural selection, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is, because logic alone, you only need 1/2 of 1/10 of a brain cell to tell you to select anything at all requires intelligence, the faculty of intelligence. You cannot get around this. So therefore, if there's any form of progressive evolution at all taking place in this world, it's a source of intelligence has to predate the entire evolutionary process. It's really, really simple, okay? Now, that's one reason. That was the main reason that falsified the evidence, falsified the theory of evolution in my original post. Now, random mutations. Well, I submit to you that an outcome which is considered truly random, well, that's impossible without an intelligent cause which separates the input from the output. If there's nothing there to separate the input from the output, that means then the output is predictable. The output then is simply a mapping of the characteristics of the input into the cause which created the effect. Only an intelligent cause can create a disconnect between input and output. Only an intelligent cause can decide not to use input to create output. As I said to you before, you asked me to pick a number between 1 and 9, I'll give you 7. So, and I didn't need any input into that. I just gave you my number. Now, there may be things in my head that's, pick 1 or pick 3 or pick 9, whatever. There could be some thoughts like that in your head. But ultimately, I have the choice. The output I give to you is disconnected from the input. Only an intelligent entity is capable of doing this. So we know fundamentally the theory of evolution is simply false. It's simply false because the faculty of intelligence cannot possibly be the product of this evolutionary theory. The faculty of intelligence must predate any form of evolution that has and will take place on this earth or anywhere else in the universe. It's really, really simple, okay? Now, the people that believe in the evolution theory, they're atheists and theists, all right? The atheists, it's only the hardened atheists that really worships this theory. Like theists, they believe in this theory because they don't really want to rock the boat as far as science being inconsistent with science. Now, they don't want to be inconsistent with today's science. Evolution is not science, I'll tell you that now. So all you theists out there that believe in evolution, just grow up. Atheists that worship this theory, well, you need to grow up even faster. It's really that simple. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. So God bless you all. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this extension to the Theory of Evolution 2.0 post I did. This is just an extension to the post. I was going to provide it as a separate post, but I was going to call it Theism 2.1, but I thought that's probably just a little bit tacky. So I just talked about the theory of evolution and how dumb it is. Now I want to provide supporting evidence for the existence of God in this section here. It's basically a rehash of the evidence I presented in Theism 2.0, but I'm just going to add a few things, okay? So let's now talk about the evidence which confirms the existence of God. Okay, here we go now. We know that every single physical object in existence, it harbours a nature. It harbours energy and it loses its energy over time. Just like fuel in a car, energy is required to sustain the atomic structure of every single physical object in existence. And once the energy runs out, the object loses its physical composition and it disintegrates. It's really that simple. So that simple fact teaches us that a physical object of any kind must be finite in time duration. It cannot be eternal. So because the universe is physical in nature, this also applies to the universe. So the universe cannot possibly be eternal. Therefore, it has to be finite. Now, because we know fundamentally that something can't actually come from nothing, nothing cannot be the cause of anything at all, nothing can only give rise to nothing, we know fundamentally then that the universe has a cause. Something brought the universe into existence. We know fundamentally that this cause is either intelligent or non-intelligent. Those two outcomes or beliefs form a logical dichotomy. You cannot get around this. One of those views has to be true, whilst the other view is false by sheer logical necessity. It's as simple as that. So that's what it all boils down to. The universe was either created by an intelligent cause or a non-intelligent cause. Now, so if you were to knock out one of them, one of these options, one remains, and that one's the winner, obviously. Okay, we know fundamentally that the universe could not possibly be the product of a non-intelligent cause because it's the characteristics of a non-intelligent effect must inherently be in proportion to the characteristics of the input into a non-intelligent cause, which produces a non-intelligent effect. Okay, so if there's no input, there's no output. Okay, so it's really, really simple. Now, because the universe began, say, point here, the universe began here, time is a concept. Conceptually goes back to negative infinity. So the universe was brought into existence at some point in the past. Now, before that, we had no universe, and therefore we had no physical input into a non-intelligent cause. So there's no input, means no output. Now, let's talk about intelligent causation. Only an intelligent cause has the capacity to disconnect the input from the output. So only an intelligent cause has the potential to create an output which does not require input at all. For example, you ask me to give you a random number between 1 and 5. I'll give you 4. I've just given you an output that does not require input. See, an intelligent cause is not handicapped by the need for input. Yes, it's true that an intelligent cause is at liberty to use input as a mechanism to create output. Obviously, that's true. That happens all the time. But an intelligent entity is at liberty to not use input. But can't you see? Now let's take us back to the logical dichotomy of views we talked about before. The universe is either the product of a non-intelligent cause or intelligent cause. A non-intelligent cause is handicapped by the need to have input. An intelligent cause is not handicapped by the need to have input. Can't you see? Take those two views into account. It's quite obvious that the universe is indeed the product of an intelligent cause, aka God, or some other name you want to call this being. It's really, really simple. So that's all I wanted to add, okay? So a non-intelligent effect, the characteristics of a non-intelligent effect must exist in direct proportion to the characteristics of the input into the non-intelligent cause which produce the non-intelligent effect, okay? No input means no output. An intelligent entity is not handicapped by the need for input. An intelligent entity has the potential to create output, okay? And therefore, that's all you need. It's all the evidence. You don't need to write books about this. Proving God's existence is child's play. It really is. Anyway, over and out. I'll see you in the next video.